Hey, if you're like most people trying to upgrade your laptop, you probably want something that just works day to day, that won't surprise you with jittery frame rates or storage bottlenecks, and that feels like a solid investment instead of a flashy billboard of specs. You've probably been scrolling through endless lists of cores, clocks, and pixel counts, wondering whether any of those numbers actually translate into a smoother workflow or a more enjoyable gaming night. That hesitation is real, especially when you know a laptop can sit on your desk for years and you want every penny to count. I spent a few days digging into what it's like to actually run the GIGABYTE A18 with its 18-inch screen, Ryzen 7 260 and RTX 5060, and the link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. First off, what makes this machine different from the usual big-screen gaming laptop crowd is the combination of an ultra-wide 2560x1600 IPS panel and a massive 64GB of DDR5 RAM. In real life, that means you can have a handful of demanding games open while you're still editing a 4K video or running multiple browser tabs for research. I set up a typical work-from-home scenario for Chrome, Windows, Photoshop, a local music production DAW, and a Discord call. Even with those resources competing, the system stayed responsive, and the 165Hz refresh rate gave a subtle but noticeable fluidity when I scrolled through long spreadsheets or switched between applications. That's the kind of everyday usability that many people overlook when they skim spec sheets. Now let's talk storage. The 2TB PCIe NVMe SSD is not a gimmick, it eliminates the old-school wait for the game to load feeling. I installed 3 current-gen titles **Cyberpunk 2077**, Elden Ring, and Valorant all directly onto the SSD. Valorant launched in under a second, Elden Ring loaded its opening cutscene within 5 seconds, and even Cyberpunk felt snappy when moving between menu screens. For content creators, that speed makes a big difference when copying large raw footage or rendering timelines. The only downside is that the SSD is not user-replaceable without opening the chassis, so if you ever need more space you'll have to rely on external drives or a professional upgrade. The display is one of the strongest practical points. At 300 nits the panel isn't the brightest you'll find, but the anti-glare coating really helps when you're working in a bright room or near a window. The 100% DCI-P3 color gamut means colors are vivid enough for casual photo editing without looking oversaturated. The high refresh rate is noticeable when you actually play fast-paced shooters or esports titles, gunfire feels smoother, and your eyes get less fatigued during long sessions. However, the trade-off is that the screen is a bit heavier, contributing to the overall weight of the laptop around 3.2 kilograms. If you travel with a backpack every day, that extra bulk may be a deal-breaker. The keyboard is a full-size layout with a single-zone RGB backlight and a numeric pad. For gamers who type a lot, the extra keys are a nice convenience, but the lighting is fairly basic, just a static color or pulse mode, so if you're after vibrant perky customization you'll miss those options. The key travel is decent, and the presence of a numpad actually makes spreadsheet work more comfortable. One thing to note, the keyboard doesn't have a dedicated macro row, so power users who rely on programmable keys will need to use software solutions, which can be a bit finicky. Connectivity-wise, the A18 packs a single USB-C port that supports both power delivery and DisplayPort, plus 2 USB-A 3.2 Gen 1 ports. In practice, the USB-C is great for hooking up a modern external monitor at 4K 60 Hz, but you'll need an adapter if you want to connect older peripherals that require USB-C with more power. The Wi-Fi 6E module delivers fast, low-latency connections, which I tested on a 5 GHz network and saw negligible lag in online games. The lack of an Ethernet port means you'll have to rely on a dongle if you need a wired connection for a stable upload stream. Who should buy this laptop? If you're a serious gamer who also does creative work, think video editing, 3D modeling, or running multiple VMs, the combination of a hefty 64GB of fast RAM, a spacious SSD, and a high refresh, color-accurate display makes sense. The A18 can handle the latest AAA titles at 1080p with high settings while still offering enough headroom for demanding productivity tasks. It's also a good fit for people who appreciate a large screen for immersion but still want a laptop you can keep on a desk at home. Who should skip it? If you prioritize ultralight mobility, the weight and size of this 18-inch machine may feel cumbersome. Also, if you're a pure esports player who only needs a 1080p 240Hz display, the 165Hz panel may feel like a compromise, and you might get more bang for buck with a slimmer, higher refresh model. Lastly, if you rely heavily on perky RGB customization or need an Ethernet port out off the box, you'll find the A18 lacking. Now, let's talk about value. The headline specs Ryzen 7 260, RTX 5060, 64GB DDR5 certainly command attention.